Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here today. I'm just saying a hello in the chat room as well. Um, just to start off, uh, for these Zoom calls, I usually say to people, obviously I'm doing most of the talking, but I really encourage you to jump in at any time. I know it's hard when we're not physically together, but don't worry about interrupting. I can help you with anything from a question to a certain situation you want to know more details or techniques about. And also welcome for people to use the chat box where you can ask a question or do emoticons like thumbs up, thumbs down, happy face, all these types of things. And that allows me to know how I'm doing because I'm basically just staring into a video camera and I can't tell if I'm doing well or not according to what you're hoping for. Okay. So any feedback along the way would be terrific. So I just wrote a hello to everybody there. Hopefully it went through. If it went through and you can see me there, type a hello back, whatever you want, and or an emoticon so I can see that it's working. Awesome. Thank you. So let's get started. We only have 1 hour. We waited a little bit for more people to join, so I'm going to go over about 10 minutes. So an hour starting now. Okay. And we're going to be talking about burnout prevention and emotional first aid. This is a topic near and dear to me. It's not something I've studied. I did not go to school for this. They don't teach you anything about this when it comes to children or just simply caring for others at any age in any kind of circumstance. So today's presentation is actually based on my own experience of burnout and how I overcame it. And it wasn't just sort of one blip or 1 week of burnout, it was for years. And I have been in chronic stress for decades. And I have done a lot of work to get myself sort of out of that. I still consider myself burnt out, but obviously there are varying degrees and levels. And now I'm doing much, much better. So if you are burnt out, if you think you might be, you're not even sure, you just logged on to this video hoping for something to resonate. This is this information and today's workshop is great for anybody, for any human out there, no matter what the circumstance is. Okay, it's about taking care of ourselves. And it's something I don't think we talk enough about. And hopefully, when we start talking more about it, we bring more awareness, more support, and resources to actually help the situation and help each individual. Okay, so let's get started. Here I am, just a little blurb about myself, nothing too major. You had the introduction by Michelle already, but this is, I'm sort of doing two things here. I wear two different hats in this field. One is working with parents, teachers, educators in terms of specializing in children's behavior, including self-care and burnout, as we were talking about today. But I also am the owner of Miss Behaviour Parenting Coaching Consultant Services, where I work directly with parents and their children and families in the home, working one-on-one with them. Okay, so just a little bit there about me. If you are on social media, I am as well. I'd love to connect with you. Here are some of the handles. If you go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I'm all on there, including YouTube, which some of this recording today will be uploaded to YouTube eventually. And Michelle's going to put it up on her site as well. So this is a way for us to stay in touch and remain connected. Okay, here we go. So we're going to be talking about burnout. If you want to share, you can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. And again, don't worry about interrupting me. I love it. It allows me to, I love being able to connect and talk to others instead of me just doing all the talking. But if you want to just let me know, are you burnt out? Thumbs up, thumbs down even? If are you kind of thinking maybe you are, you're not quite sure? Or you know somebody in your family or someone you care about that's feeling burnt out, any sort of feedback like that would be ideal. So if you want to put that in the chat box or unmute yourself, please do. Okay, and not only is it wonderful for me to get feedback and obviously chat with you, which I love, but the others listening are also going to have this sort of connection to the group. And I know you're already connected, but there's one thing that I always sort of get feedback on from all of the workshops, webinars, seminars that I've done all around the world, is that the people in the audience love to hear those who had the question. Maybe they weren't feeling quite secure about asking, or they thought, oh, it's a stupid question, I'm not going to ask it, and they didn't. But then when they heard other people ask questions and get feedback, it not only helped them feel better to ask, but also allowed them to sort of go, yeah, I had that problem too. Oh my gosh, I thought it was the only one. And so the feedback sort of became a benefit, if you will, to the entire experience. Okay, so that's sort of where I'm at with that. I know for myself, I never put my hand up. I was just the quiet person in the back listening. I'm an observer, and I'm like, good enough. Okay. But the more I participate in other people's workshops and webinars, I realize this is a chance to, and an opportunity to really sort of jump in on. Okay, so just getting some feedback here, looking for prevention strategies to avoid burnout. And with COVID, there's a few about that. I hear you on that one. I thought we'd be done by now, and apparently, we're not. So not my favorite news. But yes, we'll talk all about those as well. So what exactly is burnout? Let's jump right into it here. It's when we have gone over and beyond what we can handle for too long. And I just want to also add, without the resources or support needed. What do you think happens when we go over and beyond? We start feeling burnt out, yeah, but what else happens? We can lose who we are, who we actually are. I know for myself, I used to care about everybody. I thought at one point I could save the world. I got a lot of love. Let's just help everybody. And it wasn't until I did that and I realized when I gave too much, when I went over and beyond what I could handle, or even at times when I could handle it, I in fact lost parts of me. Okay. And you don't realize it until it's too late. Because I'm a go-getter, I'm a doer. I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'll sleep tomorrow. I'll eat next week. It doesn't matter. I'll get to it. And then, exercise. That's another big one for me. Yeah, I know about, I'll get there. I went for a walk, I think last month. I'm not really sure. And everything sort of gets put off because we care too much. And that's what I find with a lot of people in this area of burnout and emotional first aid is we care too much. And that's not a bad thing, not at all. We need carers in this world, okay? But we have to put boundaries around that. We have to put limits around that. And that's really contradictory because we have to stop at points to care. And it becomes sort of controversial in that, when you care, you give it all. And then when you give it all, you give even more. But then that's when we sort of lose grip, okay? Exactly. Someone wrote here, I'm the last person on the list. It's, you've got a list? I didn't even have a list. So, yeah, there was no list for me to even be last on. But yes, that tends to be the case. Now that goes for all individuals, but I find in my experience, a lot of time with mothers, a lot of time with women, females more so, but that is changing as well. Okay. And it's not just to do with children, it's to do in all areas and many, many fields. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I would like to do a little share here. Okay. You'll see something else pop up on the screen. Okay. And it's a burnout self-test. Now I will lift it up a little bit here so you can see the whole thing. Let me just pull it up. Oop. No, I cannot. Okay. So there's a little score part down below there. Okay, I'm going to keep it right here. So this should only take a few minutes, but you're going to go down the list. Don't worry about printing this off or copying it. Just get a scrap piece of paper if you can, and just put down, the first one there. Am I a 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending, not at all to very often. No one else is going to see this. You don't have to share with me or anyone, but it allows us to kind of look at it from a non-biased sort of point of view. Because I know if you ask me, I'll be like, yeah, I'm fine, I'll handle it. But when we see it actually on paper, in terms of sort of stats, if you will, it can look very different. Okay, so if you'd like to, I'm going to scroll it down just a bit so we got the full thing available on screen. If someone cannot see this or want me to go up or down or read it out, please let me know in the chat. Okay, and I'm actually going to do it too, because I haven't done this one for a few months. This isn't something you just do once. In fact, I do it seasonally. I find the seasons as they change different parts of the year. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes. And again, you don't have to, but we're going to allow some time here for the group to do the answers. Make it a bit bigger, sure. A little, is that good? True for the comment there of MCFD. I found it interesting that they even had this, but let's just focus on what this can say to us, okay? Oh goodness, 5, 5, 5. Okay, maybe one more minute or so. Okay. Oh, I'm at risk of burnout. Well, let's see. It's better than I was. Still got, that's just the last few months. I'm going to move on. If anybody needs more time, I can put it up again at the end. Okay. I think just by going through, yeah, that's another good point. Someone just made a comment. I don't know if everyone can see the chat, but yes, you could start and be like, well, yeah, I'm kind of nice to the answers, but yeah, try it again. Try it when you come back from a long, hard day and then see if the scores match up. But this can change and fluctuate. That's the whole point, is, being aware of the different levels. And I thought it was all or nothing. I'm either burnt out or I'm not. And as I mentioned right there, I'm at risk. So my score was 44. I'm at risk of burnout. That's just now. Okay? And it's the morning and I had a pretty good weekend. So things can change. Things can be really different depending on your job. You get a new position, new shift, those types of things. So it's fluid, it's moving, it's always ongoing. Okay, so what is burnout? It's going over and beyond what we can handle for too long. Okay, I'm going to keep moving forward here. So mommy burnout, I love this visual because it gives us an idea. Now it says mommy burnout. I can't change it because it's from parent self-care, but it's really for anybody, any individual. I've even seen teens and older children, school-age children, be burnt out. So this is for anybody and everybody. So what it might look like. And, again, go around and see. Are you often in a bad mood and have a short fuse? Yes. You're double booking and missing appointments. In the last 6 months, I have done that more than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm shocked. Looking forward to that glass of wine at the end of the day too much? Yeah, pretty much for a while now. Yeah. This one, I'm a huge sleeper. I get 10 to 11 hours of sleep every day. I just love the sleep, need the sleep. I'm still tired. Okay, so this is kind of a great thing to also, if you want to either print it out or make your own and put it up on your fridge or take a picture of it on your phone or go to Parents Self-Care and you can print it off. This is by Dr. Cheryl Ziegler. This is a way to kind of go, oh, right. Now there's a point coming here after we go through this. Some of you might be like, yeah, I'm burnt out. I don't need to know any of the details. I have it guaranteed for sure. But we'll find out in just a little bit here what all of this means. Okay. And to some people, this is totally new. My parents never talked about burnout. They're like, what are you even talking about? What is that? Some people in different fields of work also, they're like, no, I don't know what that means. I just go do my job and leave. Or I stay at home with my family and, life is great. I don't have any kids. And they're like, well, that could be why. No. Everybody's situation is different. And information is welcoming to everyone. Okay. So why does this happen? We tend to give too much of ourselves to too many things without clear intentions, boundaries, and communication, causing for an imbalance within ourselves. How many of you would agree or disagree? You can show me in the chat box, thumbs up, thumbs down. You could even print, just agree or disagree. And if you disagree, what else would you add or what else would you say? So how does burnout happen? Agree, yeah, a lot of agrees. What I would say for myself, oh, there's the thumbs up emoticon. Awesome. What I would say for myself is, and I get this from my mother, I can juggle a lot. Okay, I can juggle, I can take on quite a bit. Because she did. So I just, follow in her footsteps. I'm one of 4 girls, grew up with a family of 6. A lot of stuff going on. My mom also looked after another 4 children. So it was a busy household. Okay, a lot of kids, a lot of stuff going on. My mom just was so, I think, had so much work that she just did. She didn't stop to look around and go, did I communicate that to anyone? Did I mention my expectations last night at dinner to the family? No, it was just go time. And so that's how I did. It was just go time. I just took it all on until I started working with the parent coaching and realizing how expectations and boundaries affect children's behavior. And then I realized how it impacted my life. There were no boundaries. Communication was poor. I'm a great talker, but I never put communication around how I felt, what I wanted, what I didn't want, what was okay and what was not okay. I said yes to everything and no to nothing. Okay. I was a people pleaser, and I use the word was. I no longer am a people pleaser. I'll still sort of have some bad habits come up, but I would not consider myself a people pleaser anymore. I've got a job to do. I help others. I work with children, and there's the line. I'm done. Because this machine has to be restored and has to be maintained and has to rest, or it won't work any longer. Okay. So think about it in your life. Is it communication? Is it clear intentions? Is it boundaries? We're going to go through all of those today. Okay. Now, how many of you have a cell phone? Actually, I should say, how many of you don't have a cell phone? How many of you don't lose battery in your cell phone basically on a daily basis? I know when my bars get to about 30, 37 seems to be the wonder number. I'm like, whoop, gotta plug it in. Don't want to go down too low. The other day, I couldn't help it. I was on the phone with someone. I could see my bars as I'm talking to this person. I could see that going, the percentage of battery life going down, and eventually the phone cut out, and I was devastated. How could I have let that happen? I forgot to charge. It wasn't quite plugged into the wall. Oh my goodness, life was like chaotic because I couldn't do anything because I had to charge my phone for about an hour. But most of the times, I'm on it. Now, in this visual, you can see how can we do that to ourselves so easily. And I'm not talking about one day we didn't recharge like we do with our phone. I'm talking about months and years, if not even decades, of not charging the battery. Or we did back in 2008. It's like, no, if I asked you right now, when was the last time you spent time just with yourself, for yourself, and that doesn't include housework, chores, cleaning, nothing? When was the last time? Boom, you should answer me. Yesterday, 4 o'clock. 2 days ago, Saturday. How many of us can do that? Okay. It has to be up front and center, a priority. In my room, I have a framed sort of meme, if you will, this little blurb I saw on Facebook, and I copied it and put it all nice and neat in a little frame. And it says, if you prioritize yourself and put yourself at the top of the list every day, everything else will fall into place. I printed it off and put it in my bedroom so I see it when I wake up and when I go to bed, because I couldn't remember that. And now I have to have a visual that nearly slaps me in the face every single day so that I remember, oh yeah, put myself at the top of the list. It's not really a bad thing. It's not really good or bad, but it just goes to show you how far away I am from preventing burnout. Okay? It's societal, it's systemic, it's, there's a whole cultural, some people even religious. There's many reasons why we give too much. There's many reasons why we get burnt out. If you have some time later today or another day, reflect on that and think, what is it? Am I? What was my score? How did this happen? Why did it happen? And which areas, maybe communication or intention? And how come I'm not recharging? And when was the last time I took time for myself? These are great points for reflection. Here's a comment here about how someone's husband said, go do something for yourself. You have no idea what to do. This is so common. So common. People are like, should I call somebody? Should I take the kids? Maybe I'll go see a movie. And we are constantly in this mind frame of bringing others with us, caring for others, being around others. And it's wonderful. But we have to set aside time for just ourselves. Now, here's the thing. You actually don't have to go anywhere. Depending on your household and what's all going on, you might have to. But what I do is go into my room. So I communicate. I tell everybody in the household, or turn my phone off, whatever it is, schedule time on my planner. It's right here. I have a paper planner. I schedule everything on it, including time for myself. And I, communicate so people don't think I'm, close the door and I'm antisocial or upset with somebody in my room. I go and tell them I'm going to be in stillness for 20 minutes. I don't want to be interrupted. Okay. And I just sit there with my eyes closed. I got a little cushion. Some people call it prayer. Some people call meditation. It doesn't matter what you call it. Just be still. And then the mind will do what it needs to do. You don't have to stop your thoughts. You don't have to be in Zen moment. You don't have to be, enlightened. Just be still. Press the pause button on life and just be still. Now you can do that on a park bench. You can do that while getting a coffee and going for a walk around the block. You can do that while doing, any other activity, but it shouldn't be necessarily something like a chore. Try to separate. Some people be like, oh, I'm alone in the kitchen doing the dishes. I put on music and it's wonderful. Okay, so that's good, but don't forget to also have stillness. Some people say, I go to the spa. Good. Also, don't forget stillness. Okay. I get my hair done every 6 weeks. I go for a walk. I go for a workout. Again, all good stuff because you're taking care of yourself. But I also want to add in the component of stillness. I have a sibling who cannot bear alone, um, nor have complete silence. Okay, it causes her a lot of anxiety because she's thinking she has to be doing something. Okay, and we've had a lot of talks about this, and it's about no, it's the stillness. Now, if you're not ready for it, that's fine. If you need more help, that's and support, that's great. It could be something you want to work towards. I'm not reprimanding anybody. You should do it and do it now because you have to. But there is some magic in that when you have moments of stillness. You can also look up a lot about that online as well as mindfulness, okay, as well as meditation. Yeah, there's a great comment here too. No more appointments. Oh my gosh, a recovery day. I love that. And try not to book on Fridays. That's right. I don't know how many of you use a paper calendar or your calendar on your phone. That doesn't matter. But yes, try to schedule time. It may not be every day, every week, or every month. If you're like, all I can do is an off day or self-care day for 1 hour every 3 months, then that's what you got. Start there. It's the act of starting. It's the act of prioritizing. It's the act of saying, I matter. Here I am. I'm going to put myself first. It doesn't mean get rid of everybody, although sometimes that would be nice. It just means I need to press pause and take time for myself so I don't further burn out, or I don't burn out, or however you want to word that. Okay. Really like that. Here's another little quick one here before we jump into some more bigger topics. I couldn't help but add this because it ties in really nicely. Things that affected my mental health. Now, I don't want to dive too deep into mental health or mental wellness, although burnout prevention falls under the category of mental well-being and emotional well-being. So by no means is this about mental health. It just happens to be where I got this from Mellow Doodles, right? But all of these definitely affect me. Just last week, I found myself scrolling through Facebook and Instagram for a long period of time, and I don't even know what I was looking at. And I was very good at that sort of controlling myself with it. And for some reason, the way last couple of weeks have been going, it was a constant rotation of Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, Instagram. It's on my phone. It was subconscious, and I was pushing everything else in life away. How did that happen? I have no idea. So I kind of caught myself in it, and I realized I took it off my phone. I still have it on my laptop, but I got to log in. It's got to be take some time. But I took it off my phone just for a short period, just to see if that's going to help me or not. I also realized I haven't gone for a hike or even an outdoor walk because the weather's been so bad here. I'm in Vancouver. I know you guys are elsewhere. So and depending what kind of food, depending if you have alcohol or any other substances, okay? I no longer read the news. I haven't read the news or been part of the news for several years now, including with COVID. I've got other ways to be informed, but I don't get into that because that really affects me, okay? And my workload, I had chopped it right down. I had to bring it up a little bit financially, but I'm like, I'm really aware of it. I'm being very careful. Okay. Can I do more? Yes, I can. Do I have to? No. Do I want to? No. And that's how firm it has to be. For me, that's what works for me. Okay. So we're going to come back to this one in just a little bit, but this one I thought was really funny. What's the most important thing you've done this year? I asked this to everybody. They're like, well, we bought a new house and had a new baby, and my husband got a promotion. We redid the back deck. Fabulous. I didn't do any of that stuff. I survived, and barely. Okay. I am maxed out. I am a solo parent. And I'm not trying to complain or make everybody else feel bad, but in the context of today's discussion, no, that's all I can give. I'm a very successful person. I have had a wonderful life. I am a solo parent though. My husband passed away during COVID in 2020. It's just me. It's just me financially with the workload, the household, my son. There's nobody else. Okay, I have a wonderful community, great friends, but they can't take on those big things. So that was a real blast. Prior to him passing, we struggled for many years with his severe mental health issues. I'm still haven't recovered from that. That was so difficult. Okay. Loss financially through COVID and other means. Okay, my health was affected. Um, my family, certain relationships and friendships, all were impacted. I no longer hang out with that group of friends that I had. Everything's kind of moved towards hermit life, if you will, because I now prioritize my mental well-being. And when I take on too much or give too much, it just doesn't work. The whole thing crumbles. Okay. And we all have different things going on in our life. Everybody is struggling for many different reasons. And it's not a judgment. I'm struggling more than you, or I have a way more stressed out life than you. No, I have compassion for everyone because I know everyone is trying to do the best they can with the tools they have in this moment, with what they know. And living in 2021 in Canada, even, and being part of this world and society is very difficult. Now, if you have family members, whether it be a spouse, partner, your own children, looking after other people's children, however that might look, these are major things that we are doing. Big weights on our shoulders to succeed and to maintain and to achieve. They're wonderful things most of the time, but they really take a lot out of us. Okay. So take it easy on yourself. I'm giving you permission to take it easy. And if you're supposed to read those books or do these tests or fill out these forms or go out for that coffee date and you can't and you kind of don't even want to, that's okay. You can do it next time. Get you on the other side. Okay. So let's move down. Now, this one is how this visual is going to bring together everything we just spoke about. Okay. It's normal to have a smaller window of tolerance during stressful times. Now, I'm going to use being in this COVID pandemic as the stressful time, just for the sake of an example. Okay. Each one of you can have something different. That part is completely up to you. But I want you to picture one of the windows in your home, a bigger window, if you will. If you take on a lot in this world, get the biggest window in your home. Okay. And we're going to have this window go up and down. I know some open sideways and all the rest of it, but just for the sake of this example, we're going to have a window that opens up and down. So here's my window. Okay. It's sunny, it's breezy. I have it open all the time and I love it and life is good. Okay. But I had a spouse with severe mental health issues and it closed right down. Okay, the window. There was only a little crack left. I helped restore myself, came back, but not fully quite as open. I don't know if it'll ever be that way. And then I had lost him. He passed away. Closed that window again, kind of restored, but it'll never be fully open again like it was. Okay, raising my son each and every day. I have just one. I can't imagine anybody who has multiple children in the home. That is so difficult. Everything from his backpack to his lunch kit to his social emotional well-being, making sure my reaction and responses are positive, and ensuring that he's clean and healthy and having fun and okay with life, according to his circumstance. There's not much left there. Guess what? Then there's the pandemic. Holy moly. I don't know if you can tell, but I only got a little tiny sliver left. Now, I kind of had a cough this last week, and I thought, oh my gosh, if I get COVID, holy moly, this is going to be terrible. I don't think so, but the cough still is pretty major. Okay. So I'm at a close, if not a very small. Do you see how it worked? My window of tolerance. Why would I be tolerant of anybody right now when I only got this much left? Okay. Why would I have patience for a young child, a senior, another vulnerable person, if I only got this much left? Why would I take good care of my health and go exercise and eat healthy vegetables or do my Weight Watchers points if I only got this much left? I can't. Now, I don't want to be like too bad for you, but I'm gonna, if this shuts, if this closes, my whole life is I don't want to say gone. That's a harsh word, but it's not going to be the same. It hasn't been the same since all of those things happened. Now, everyone has their own circumstances that will open that window a little bit more and close it. But I tell you, I'm working at here, I'm working at this speed now. So I don't have the luxury of taking it all on anymore. I don't have the option to be like, okay, sure, I'll do more work. I can't. And unfortunately, I had to wait until that window shut so much before I learned about communication, expectations, and intention in my life. I knew about them. I didn't incorporate them into my life. Now I only have this much left. You're darn right I got boundaries. You're darn right I know how to say no and not feel guilty about it and still get what I need to get done. So think about your window of tolerance. Maybe you're still open. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, COVID, kind of closed, but I'm okay. I have a loving spouse, husband, whatever it is, wife that supports me. Yeah, I'm doing really well. I got great kids, nothing wrong. Everything's wonderful. I've got in-laws that help. I'm financially stable. Everything's great. There are so many factors in life that can affect that window of tolerance. And it doesn't matter if someone agrees with it or not. It doesn't matter if someone's like, well, you shouldn't have lowered your tolerance level because of that. None of your business. It's lowered. Okay. That's what lowered it for me. Only you know what that means. So in your time of stillness, reflection, meditation, prayer, whatever you want to call it, use some of these key things we've talked about today as points of interest and to generate thought. Never thought of myself as having a window opening or closing. What can I do to have my window open more? I tell you, if I had a month vacation and an all-inclusive resort, my window by myself, my window will open a lot. Okay. Sometimes I've learned to let go and have my parents look after my son for the weekend. That was very, very difficult. But that's happening now. And I have a weekend to just do whatever I want, which I feel so blessed for, but was so resistant at the beginning about. So what caused the window of tolerance to close or open and close, fluctuate? And what can I do to open my window more? Does that make sense? And that's what self-care is actually about. Now, if you get your hair done, your lashes done, your nails done, you go for your massage, all of these things, those are wonderful. And if those open your window, terrific. Those alone don't do it for me. I need the stillness. I need to have no demand from others or in my own mind. Oh, I really should get that laundry in the dryer. None of that. That's what does it for me. And not feeling guilty or judged, just like this comment here too. Thank you for this comment. But here's the thing. So I'm just reading your comment. Here's the thing. A lot of people do feel guilty and judged when they have to say no to a birthday party or a cookie exchange or to help out at the child's school or look after someone else's pet while they're away or whatever it is. Once in a while, that's fun. Okay, but it can't be all the time and not at the risk. So what I ask myself is this going to put me at risk? If I feed my neighbor's cat while they're away this weekend, Is that going to put me at risk? It is, because actually I wanted to get away this weekend for my mental well-being. So no, I can't do your cat. Okay. No, I'm totally fine by saying, hey, Julie, you want to, do this hard work? No, I'm totally fine with that now. And I don't give an explanation as to why. Just no. Can you stay extra after work today for just half hour because of nope. I'm fine with it, but I wasn't before. It took a long time, a lot of practice. So working towards not feeling guilty. I mean, it takes time, but here's the thing. Guilt is released when you got the expectation. Guilt and expectations cannot exist together. So if I have an expectation this weekend for my mental well-being, and my whole family knows about it, and it's what's happening, then when my neighbor asks me to feed their cat, I say no, because I already had an expectation and a boundary. It's not going to fit. Get you on the next one. Okay. It doesn't make you a mean person, although it can feel that way, because a lot of times that's how we're raised, and a lot of times that's how society has made it. But what works for you? Okay. There is no, I again don't have the luxury to feel guilty, or other people feeling judged, because nobody knows how I made it here. Well, I shouldn't say nobody knows. Not a lot of people know how I made it here. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to still have my emotional and mental well-being and physical well-being. Okay. And it took a shift in perception of how I viewed myself and how I valued myself. And I valued myself so much that I considered being in the forefront, and that the people I was with, they were lucky to know me, not in an arrogant way, in a valuable way, because I bring it to this table and I got a lot to give. And if you're worthy to receive it, then it's there for you. But if you're not, hit the road or I'm out. That leads me to this one little story about say you have another location. Say, just pretend here with me. Just imagine you have a 1-bedroom apartment for yourself. It's pure white. It's pristine. It's exactly how you want it. No one else lives there, just you, and you're the queen or king of the castle. Okay, and you're proud and you're honorable, and value and worth is high. And you hear a knock at the door, and it's the electrician coming over because he has to fix one of the burnt out lights upstairs. Okay, so you hired this electrician. He knocks at the door. You open it. Thank you for coming. And he walks through your house with big muddy shoes up the white carpeted stairs to your bedroom, stands on your bed with his boots and his dirty clothes. And not that electricians always look like that, but this one in the story is, okay? And then he unscrews the light, fixes it, and walks all the way back out of your house, and you say nothing. So this is your perfect house, your home you worked hard for. You're watching this guy do this. He doesn't care. He's not taking his boots. He has no consideration. Do you say something or not? Hands up, thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, unmute yourself. I want to know. Who's going to say anything to this guy, the electrician you hired to help you fix a light? I tell you, I wouldn't have. Some people would. I love it. I would never in a million years say a single word. In fact, I would be like, you want some coffee and some cake as well? It would. That's how I used to be. Okay. Now I wouldn't even let him in the door. I'd be like, whoa, 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 pump the brakes, buddy. Shoes off. Ensure that you take good care of my environment here, and ensure that your energy is okay to enter my home. Okay. But I got to fix your light. Don't care. That's what's required. Okay. And if he doesn't like it, he can turn around and leave, and I'll hire another person. That's where it's at. This is an exaggerated example. I don't have that kind of house, but that is what I would do. And I had to learn that one the hard way. Okay. So I'm getting Mixed reviews. Yeah, some people would say, some people wouldn't. Some people, yeah, maybe in the past would have not, and now they would. I love that one because a lot of people go, oh yeah, interesting. So next time an electrician comes to your house, like just take it easy on them, okay? This was just an example. But this could go for anybody in your life, including children. And that is why I do the Miss Behaviour Method program, to ensure solid boundaries where we are not necessarily jellyfish parents or dictators, where we're at one end of the spectrum or the other, but firm, friendly leaders right in the middle. Okay? Because that's how I want to start raising children, with the ability to say no without guilt, to know their own worth and value, to have the skills to set boundaries in place and communicate them to everybody around them. We start that in our children, they're going to grow up into adults that have that skill set. Okay. So moving right along. Okay. Stress level versus coping level. Everybody still with me so far? Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down. I missed one comment here. It was about expectations and modifying the environment. Now, I didn't miss it on purpose. I'm saving it for this next bit here. Okay, because that's what we're going to be talking about. Oops. Too far. Okay. Stress level versus coping level. A heart emoji. Oh, never seen that before. So really simply, because I know we're coming down to the time here. So, and I want to try and cover a little bit more. We have just over 10 minutes left. Really simply, okay, there's a lot of words on this page. You don't need to read them all. But here's the thing. When we're stressed or burnt out, okay, stress levels are very high, obviously, when you're burnt out. So right up here. Coping level is usually down here. Hope you can see that on your screen. I can see it within myself, but if you can't, let me know. But basically, stress levels are high, coping levels are low. This is what's causing the imbalance. How do you fix that? You try to, as much as possible, lower your stressors. And the comment earlier was modify your environment, modify your expectations, standards, all of these types of things, as much as you can. Some people might be like, it's very stressful living in this household, I want to move. Well, then move, and that's terrific. Some people can't move, even though they want to. But modify what you can to bring down the stressors in your life. Now, before you do that, you would always have to reflect on what exactly is causing you stress. Is it the children, the family members? Is it work? Is it your neighborhood, your in-laws, financially? I mean, there's so many different things, but try to as much as possible. This alone won't do it. Okay, it'll help, but it won't be the only solution to get where you want to go. You now have to work on these coping skills. Okay, we have to raise those coping skills up. And in order to do that, we need to increase the opportunities of self-regulation, the ability to regulate one's feelings, experiences, responses, and reactions. For the sake of this webinar today, I'm just going to use the word feelings, all encompassing. You have to manage and regulate your feelings. Okay? When you are able to manage and regulate your feelings and build those skills, you are actually raising the ability or increasing your ability to cope with stressors. If you want to know more about this particular area, you can go and research Dr. Stuart Shanker, who is from Ontario, who does a lot of work with self-regulation, stress levels, and coping. Okay, but really simply, we can lower our stress level down, we can increase our coping skill level, and here we've got the balance. Okay, this alone won't do it, and this alone won't do it. It's both in together. Some people can say my spouse drives me crazy and is a major stressor. Okay, huge complaint that I get a lot. Understood. But you can't necessarily just, get rid of them. I'm not going to go further with that. So, but what you can do is see where you can lower stressors. Maybe that one will always stay there, but you can lower other ones. Okay. And then feeling of the feelings. So let's talk about that a little bit. Regulating one's own feelings. Basically, in a nutshell, the only way to increase your coping skills with stressors is to feel your feelings and accept them for what they are. My spouse is driving me crazy, doesn't help me with the household work or the children. I can't stand him or her. I am so stressed and so angry. The response to that would be feel your feelings. Feel them from the beginning to the end and accept them. But I don't want to be this angry with them. Well, guess what? You are. So what you want and what the reality is can cause a lot of torment. Okay. I wanted my child to have good behavior. I raised him in a way that he should have good behavior. Well, he's not, because he's jumping off the wall and eating all the cookies for dinner. That's the reality. Now, I'm giving exaggerated examples for the sake of this discussion today. But if you want to know more in detail and other things, jokes aside, that is something I'm always doing with my work. So just making a note of that. Okay. But here's the thing, when we feel the feelings and accept them for what they are, we can then regulate through them. You can't go around them. You can't suppress them. You can't avoid them without them coming back up at some time. Some people will say, oh no, I locked that stuff right inside. That's never coming out again. It will. The famous Ian Van Zandt says, feelings buried alive never die. Okay? We've got to start feeling the feelings and it being okay, being an okay thing to do. For the first chunk of time when I scheduled stillness with myself, a lot of feelings came up, from anger to sadness to shock to stress. Just me sitting in a room still, because those things have all been pushed down and they need to come out. Okay. And there's more to that, obviously, but just for the sake of today, it's going to be just a short little piece. Okay, so feeling the feelings, accepting them for what they are, is how we regulate. So that's how we get that skill level up. And then we can adapt, adjust, and hopefully the aim here is to get a balance. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. There's no scorecard. It might take you a year or more, might take you a couple days. Everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's window of tolerance is different. Do what's right for you in the circumstances, situation that you're in. Just another little quick thing here, dealing with uncertainty. With COVID in particular, I actually added this one because of the COVID pandemic piece. It has been constant uncertainty. Everything from, stay at home restrictions to vaccine, don't vaccine, to travel, don't travel. I still don't know what the rules are because they're always changing. It's different in every province. Every week it's like, oh my goodness, totally uncertain. That's been my experience. So I don't have control over this pandemic. As it seems, nobody does. Okay. But what do I have control over? Myself. I will always have control over myself and how I react and respond to different experiences in my life. I do want to make a list of things I can control. Other people shouldn't be on there, although sometimes I really want to. Okay. I can control cleaning my house, journaling, taking it easy, adjusting, adapting, modifying my environment and expectations. Okay. So that's something also that's really helpful. Again, this little visual, as you can see, I'm keen on visuals because they say so much. And it's better than me just yapping on and better than just reading paragraph after paragraph. This one I find interesting because this was an eye-opener for me. Okay. I have had and have negative coping skills to help me survive. Yeah, we all do. I thought in my healing process, I had to get rid of those. Don't ever do those again. And that was really hard. So I got stuck there. But then what I learned was you don't have to get rid of them. They were there for a reason and a purpose, but we can always add more to that and have other options available. And that really took the stress off of it. That really took the sort of the feeling of not like failure, basically, the feeling of failure out of it. Because healing isn't you're going to make it or not. Healing is a process that you choose or you don't. Okay, and it can look very different for every person. I realize there's only 5 minutes left, so I just want to jump ahead into boundaries and expectations because I told you I was going to talk about that. As you can see, there's so much to talk about on this topic. This is just a little snapshot. This is actually pulled from the Miss Behaviour method program that I created, that I do online, currently online, with clients. So I just want to talk about this one here, okay? And we'll near the end after this. Here are 2 horsey pens, okay? This is my visual way of describing boundaries and expectations and why they're so important. I do a whole other workshop on creating boundaries and expectations, but again, that's a longer conversation. So this is just a snapshot. But if you want to look here at diagram A or pen A, you see a horse in the middle with a nice fence. Now, I'm going to use the example of parents and children, but this can work in any circumstance. As parents looking after raising children, okay, we are responsible for building that fencing. If it's just you, then it's just you. If you've got other people in your support system or co-parenting, whatever, you're doing it together. You're building the fencing. You're getting the wood, the nails, the cement, and you're building a nice solid fence. Okay, as you see in diagram A here. That's the boundary we just built. Now the horse is the child and or children. They go in the middle. They don't build the boundary. Okay, the adults do. The child's job is to push every single board, every single angle of that pen. And I'm sure you already know that. Okay, that's where the phrase pushing limits, pushing boundaries, pushing my buttons even, that's where that comes from. And we tend to look at that as that's not good. We must stop that. And here's the thing. It is good. Children have to do it. Their brains have been wired to do it. So if you have a child who is does the exact opposite of everything you've ever said, go wash your hands. No. Did you clean up your room? No, I didn't. That child is developing exactly as they should. I know it's frustrating. I wish it wasn't that way, but in fact, they have to push the boundaries to see where they stand. Okay? Once the child has finished pushing the boundaries of that entire fencing unit, they then rest assured in the center. There's no more insecurity. There's no more anxiety. There's no more stress. It's no longer a stressor. Now they feel self-secure in the middle of that horsey pen, in the middle of the boundaries the parents had put together for them. Okay? That's the happy, the peaceful, the relaxed, and the learning child. Okay? Now, if we look at, and that's ideal, that's what we want. Now, if we look at diagram B there, we have a fence that's falling over. It wasn't really built properly to begin with, kind of slapped together, no maintenance, boards are falling over, a storm hit, busted off one side. So the boundary is not solid and secure. So when that horse goes and does what they are supposed to do, what their brains have been wired to do, which is push, they're going to push over the fencing, push over the boards, bust through the front, go out around the pen, running wild and out of control. And that's not okay. That's a stressor. So what do we do as parents? We try and get that horse or horses back into the pen, and it's exhausting. And it generally doesn't work. And that's what we're calling chaos. And is a huge stressor. So children require and need to thrive and develop strong, solid boundaries for what you can do and what you can't do in all aspects of life. Otherwise, it becomes chaos. Now, to flip this and turn it into a burnout talk about ourselves, Which fencing have you put around yourself? And furthermore, which fencing did you put around your heart? I think I may have had 2 boards slapped together with some cheap tape before. It didn't work. Through time and many years, I developed how to make a good solid fencing around my heart to protect myself from burning out further, from living a life of chaos. And live to add to that, the flip side of that, living a life where I know I am loved, I love myself, and I'm valued. And that helps protect the burnout. That's the emotional first aid. Okay. I'm just going to skip ahead because we are ending the time here together. So I know I threw a lot at you. I can keep talking about this topic for hours. Unfortunately, we only had an hour today, but maybe we can do this again or talk about boundaries and communication more than another time. But I invite you to join the Facebook group that I created called Burnout Prevention for Parents, Educators, Teachers, and Caregivers. It's for everybody. It's not only things that I post, like a lot of the images you saw here today and a lot of the visuals. I welcome others to post as well. Okay. You don't have to answer any questions. There's no, just let me know you want to join, click, you're in. You like it, great. If you don't, you can always leave the group. Feel free to be an observer or a participator in that group. But I thought it's something we can do easily enough that helps keep all of this information prioritized at the top of our minds so that we don't forget about it. Because as you know, it's easily to do. Very easy to forget and to not prioritize. So here's again some more of my contact information. Feel free to call, text, whether it's a, hey, what's up? Thank you. Hey, I got a question about this. I need some support. I know someone else that may need some support with themselves or with their children, classroom setting, whatever it is. I am here to connect. My intention is always to connect with others, okay, in any capacity that's required. Consider me an ongoing support for you and your lives and the work that you do. And thank you for your participation today and taking the time. I know it can be very difficult to do, but thank you so much. And just know that I am so grateful to be able to share this information with others. Okay. So that's it for me today. If you have any last minute questions, please, please let me know. Okay. If you want to ask me a question that you don't want to share now or don't have the time to, feel free to text or email me and just say, hey, I'm from the webinar you did the other day. Just have a quick question or want to clarify something, or you started talking about something and want to know more, anything like that. All right.